What's up, y'all? This is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And thanks for listening on iTunes, Spotify, on Omni Studio. We just got two sad football fans here. The other sad football fans didn't even bother to join, and I don't even blame them. It's like we're just going to try to out-sad each other on this podcast. So some of the topics or sad topics that we're going to cover, Man U, United losing to a real team that's united, Newcastle United, Southampton. I mean, Lee's going to really have to tell me how he feels, if he's numb or still, when you feel like there's levels, you've reached the bottom layer of disappointment, can you still be disappointed more? Have you reached rock bottom, or is there more depth to the pain? Let me know. We're going to talk about Arsenal in the Champions League. Can they go to Real Madrid, hold on to that 3-goal lead, and come home in the semis? Can Aston Villa overturn their deficit to PSG? And we'll talk about the games coming up this weekend. And Spurs lost in the Prem to Wolves. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about, can they beat Frankfurt at Frankfurt after they tied with Frankfurt at Spurs? So they need to win the Europa League. Or, yeah, they do. No question. I'm being joined by Lee Hudson, stand-up comic and Southampton fan, soon to be in the championship, just going through the motions. What's up, fam?
Thanks for reminding me. I'm good.
Let me just ask you some Southampton questions straight up. So you lost this weekend, right?
Yeah, 3-0 home to Villa.
And did it take anything out of you, or were you just like, or?
It was a little bit disappointing because, we played sort of okay for a while. We played it was 0-0 for a while.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 goals for Villa were scored by substitutes. But yeah, it was just kind of sad that we just, we got that far into the game and then it just kind of fell off. And Ramsdale saved 2 penalties from Asensio, but on the second one they scored the rebound immediately. So it kind of felt like once Villa got one, the team just sort of kind of lost their heads a little bit. So that was a shame. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it means very little now. So,
right.
We're just playing for pride at this point, which we haven't even got that. So
Ramsdale's like, hey, look at me. Is he I'm saving penalties. Come get me somebody.
Yeah, I was even disappointed by that because I had Asensio in my fantasy team and he gets docked points for missing penalties. So I was like, I can't even I bet against Southampton in that and I still lose.
You can't even win in fake life. Damn. Did Villa play? I know that the substitutes scored, but did they start their starters? Were you playing against a rested team that they were preparing for PSG, or
they shuffled a little bit, but not crazy amounts. If I look at the lineup here, so Rashford was playing in the 9. Mm-hmm. They had Morgan Rogers, Asensio, and Ramsey as the 3 behind that, and they had Onana and Tillmans centre midfield. McGinn will probably come in for the PSG game, I think, but he came off the bench in this game. And at the back, they had Maatsen, Mings, Konsa, and Cash, and Martinez in goal. So I think it'll be.
They don't trust Maatsen yet as a starter in the Champions League, even though he was in the Champions League final.
Yeah,
last year. So you say it was Maatsen who?
Maatsen, Mings, Konsa, and Cash. Mm. So I think they'll keep a couple of them, but I think Digne and maybe Pau Torres will come in for the Champions League game. Watkins might get a start after he scored in this game. But I mean, they played Ramsey and Rogers against PSG last time. Asensio was there as well. So yeah, they got a strong team. Like even with the rotation, their lineup was still better than ours
Yeah.
by a long stretch. So yeah, it was our interim manager's first game of his second interim stint.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, you wouldn't really tell. Like it's the same players doing the same shit. Just yeah, I mean, there's too many players in that team that just aren't good enough. So yeah, the sooner this season's over for us, the better.
Yeah, I get that feeling, unfortunately. I did want to ask you a question, but you did answer a lot of answers before I even got a chance to ask you about Arsenal. I mean, Villa. Where was the game played?
It was us. It was at Hampton.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just rough. What's the mood in Southampton fans, like the fan base? If you go online, what are people saying, like at this point?
I mean, everyone's sort of a bit just depressed. lots of speculation. Like if you look on like Southampton fan Twitter, a lot of it's just speculation about who goes, who stays, and who should we try and keep. And some of the people are deluded because they think we're going to keep hold of some players who I just don't think we'll be able to. And other ones, they're like, oh, we should definitely sell this person. I'm like, to who? Who's going to want this player? So it's a real mixture. A lot of people are sort of angry at the board for not getting the decisions right. You know, this is the second time in the Premier League where we've had 3 managers in a season. So it's the same last time we got relegated. Like we had Hasenhüttl, then Jones, then Sellers. And this season we've had Martin, then Juric, then Rusk. So it's like the board have got to take some accountability at some point, and they're the one that stuck the coaches with a squad that wasn't good enough as well. So we got a new sporting director though, and he only came in after the January window closed. So our new sporting director has had no windows to do any work. So he's the only reason I think people are showing any patience. It's like, okay, well, we need to let this guy work. So
what's his pedigree that's giving him hope, or it's just hope because it's a different person than before?
He's got a good CV. I spoke about him before, and he used to work like as part of the Red Bull group at Leipzig.
Okay.
And then he went and he was sporting director at Genoa in Italy. I think he helped them get promoted when he was there. So he's been around. He's a German guy, but he's been around Europe in like Italy and as well, and the German league. So yeah, he seems pretty smart. But proof will be in the pudding when we start selling and buying in the summer.
This is a frustrating thing. Like, so you would tell me last week about how you had that same championship defense that wasn't good in the championship, and you brought them up. Why didn't the board change that defense or buy players? Because if it was because they wanted to save money, you lose the money paying out 3 different managers that could have just went to players and improving the team strength and having like just a better, like a chance with even 2 coaches, much less you might not even have to change the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they've learned from that because yeah, we did spend some money on the defense because we had to, because of the promotion clause, we had to make Harwood Bellis. We had to make his transfer permanent. He was on loan from Man City and he was a centre back, but it meant he played for us in the Championship, so it was just a sort of continuation of that. And I think Russell Martin at the start of the season, he thought that Harwood Bellis and Bednarek and Stevens were going to be good enough for the Prem. They're not. But we signed a couple of like young centre backs, but they're Championship centre backs, and one of them is Nathan Wood, who actually done okay when he played for us this season, but then he's been sort of cast aside. And we got a young guy called Ronnie Edwards, who's really good, really calm on the ball, that aggressive as well. But we loaned him out to QPR, and he was like their player of the game at the weekend because he only ever played, before we signed him, he'd only ever played in League One, and he's like 19. So he's out there getting experience. I'm hoping we play him in the Championship next season because I think he's ready for that. But yeah, we need to sort things out next season.
Speaking of the Championship, Birmingham just got promoted to the Championship this week, right?
Yeah,
So
they
shout out to them.
bought their way back up.
I mean, they stupided their way out of it last season, so they needed to
They
do.
spent like 11 million on a striker in League One, which is crazy. But yeah, they secured promotion, but then they played in the EFL Trophy at Wembley this weekend, which is like League One and Two, only playing that cup. And they got to the final against Peterborough, and like Birmingham were the big favourites. They took loads of fans. Obviously, they got the bigger budget, and then Peterborough beat them,
Oh shit!
which was it was a big upset. And then there's a video of the Birmingham team by the side of the pitch, and Tom Brady and the owner, who's a guy called is it Tom Wagner, I think, another American dude. But they're stood there and they're like, it's mainly Wagner. He's like giving the team like a motivational speech, and you can just tell
At the end of the game.
Yeah.
For what?
I don't know. Like they've already got promoted, and I'm sure whatever he was saying was nonsense, because you can sort of tell from players' body language, like they're like, we don't need to hear this right now. Like, what are you doing? So that was pretty stupid, because they knew the cameras would be on that as well.
Right.
And sort of Brady's just sort of stood there, not really contributing. Yeah, so they just lost the cup final. They know they weren't good enough in that game or whatever. They'll know what they did wrong over the owners who think they know about football. So yeah, so let them live. Like, let them analyze it with the video and stuff. They don't need some pep talk at the end of the game from some guy who probably doesn't know that much.
So it was Tom Brady doing the pep talk?
No, it was Brady standing next to the owner, Tom Wagner, who did it. So
American owner. I hope Tom Brady's better at football than he is with crypto, and it doesn't lose a ton of money and go nowhere fast. But congrats to them getting promoted, and also congrats to them losing to Plymouth. Is it Plymouth?
Peterborough.
Peterborough
doing this game. Yeah, this is the video of it. I don't know if you can see here. So it's like Brady just stood there, like nodding.
That is so corny and American.
Yeah,
he's probably using terminology, and the soccer players like, what the fuck does that mean? What do you mean hut?
Yeah. Yeah, I bet there was a lot of like cliche stuff being said.
Yeah.
In there about being a team and lots of other nonsense that the players just don't need to hear at that point.
That's illegal in football. That's illegal. You don't even do that in American football. Like be seen on camera talking to, or in a basketball game. You watch basketball over here. That's just so performative, and that's just that just shows me if something goes wrong with this project. I can go right back to that video and source the problem without seeing anything else about Birmingham for the rest of the season next year. I guess we should rip this Band-Aid off. Also talk about Dumb United. And we lost to Newcastle. We lost hard. And a lot of people are like, and even I was saying this yesterday, if we could just cut out the mistakes. Because 3 of the goals, if you want to insult Newcastle, you could say were gifted to Newcastle by us. But that will be taken away from the pressure, the constant press, and perfectly timed press of Newcastle creating those turnovers. You know what I mean? And everybody being where they're supposed to be, the team playing as a team. Yeah, we made those mistakes, but if they backed off and play a mid-block, those mistakes wouldn't have happened. And the entire game were honest. Like, yeah, we had some moments of beautiful football when we played through them, but for those 3 or 4 moments, they got 4 goals out of us for doing what they do, for just pressing the shit out of us. And then And then there's the big thing where our goalkeeper made the fourth goal mistake, and he's standing in for Onana, who got into it with Matic midweek right before the game versus Lyon, and Matic dissed him, said he's not that good of a goalkeeper statistically, and then Onana clapped back off the pitch, but not on the pitch. But I guess I'm going to leave the Newcastle game for a second. You're a former goalkeeper, right? And I'm just going to go to the Lyon goals. Now, I feel like emotionally, United fans, and especially because of the lead up to those goals with the dispute with Matic. So emotionally, because of Onana's past and all the mistakes he's made before, the United fans are saying the first goal is a goalkeeper mistake. I don't believe that, but you're a former goalkeeper, or you're a goalkeeper. Is that a goalkeeper mistake? It's off
partially,
the free
partially,
kick.
Yeah, partially, but not like fully. That's like a joint ownership between the defenders and him, but it's not like a big, like huge mistake.
Right.
That's one where someone really needs to defend that free kick. It's on the defenders first and the keeper second, in my opinion. Because the keeper can't really move until it's cleared all the players, because you don't know if someone's going to get a touch on that, whether that's a defender or an attacker.
Right.
And by the time it clears all those players, it's kind of in a position where it's hard for him to get to.
Right.
So really, you're relying on one of your defenders getting a header and clearing that ball there, rather than everyone missing it and then you're having to try and react after that. So yeah, I wouldn't put that one on him like big time, because it's a tough situation. Like it's partly a weak goal, but I would put it more on the defenders than the keeper, that one.
So then everybody emotionally is putting it on Onana, because I've seen goals like that.
Yeah, because it's easy to do.
Yeah, it's easy to do. And I've seen goals like that scored before and then not really blame the keeper, but because of but all of a sudden, this is Onana, what a horrendous mistake. And it's like, nah, that you the Lyon player jumped and he has to wait to see if he's going to connect and then make a decision. And then if he doesn't connect, you still have to make a decision. But you're everything depends on what the Lyon player does. So close to the net on such a hard ball. And I think Bruno scored a goal like that this season. You know, it just happens. Like, that's how most of those kicks from that area of the pitch should be taken, because it's very dangerous.
People are just looking for it though, when there's been all that hype before the game and everything around it. Like people are just waiting for something they can pin on him.
That's what I thought. I don't think that first one was fair. So let's go to the second one. And I'm in the minority with this. I don't know if I had too much of a good time at Coachella. But I don't 100% necessarily think the second goal was the huge goalkeeping error that everybody wants to make it. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think it's like a big error, because the shots come in from real close range.
Yes.
And it's powerful as well. Like Cherky, I think who shot it, like he's put his foot through it, like it's a snapshot from close in. And as a goalkeeper, you just got to save it. Right. So you got to get something behind it to prevent that first goal. And it's more unfortunate that it's bounced straight back to a player who can put it in the net. Right. It will go down as like a sort of error, because it's obviously come off the goalkeeper and gone to a player. But like I say, it's a difficult one to say that he could have held it or he could have palmed it into an area more safe to the sides. Because like I say, in that situation, when you get a shot from that close, hit that hard, you've just got to stop the ball, which is what he did. And then, like I said, it's an unfortunate thing. But again, it's one where if people want to make out like it's the goalkeeper's fault, it's very easy for them to do so if they've got an agenda that they're trying to push. And I feel for Onana because after all that had gone on before the game, he kind of had to be faultless, like completely faultless, not even in these situations where it's not really his fault, but someone can blame him if they want. So it's just unfortunate for him that, those ones panned out like that, because they're not big goalkeeping errors, but they're ones that people can turn them into big goalkeeping errors and make the narrative that they're big goalkeeping errors.
Right. Yeah, I was like, am I the only one? Like, now so we're either insane or everybody else is insane. I don't know which one is more dangerous for the world, but or just, I was like, he saved the first one, ball ricocheted off. I know he tried to catch it, but the ball came through. It was close, like you said, but also it came through a crowd. And I also think we let Lyon kind of run through our defense, in between our defenders, and we shouldn't have let that happen. So just as much as you say in the first one, the defender was the first line of defense, like even in this one, it's like they got 3 opportunities like that on us and during the game, and kind of put the ball over the bar. And this one, they got 2 shots on target. And it's just at the end of the game when we expected to walk away from France 2-1 up. And it's pretty much the last kick of the game. And based on the incident and the words between him and Matic, it's not a good look, but I don't think it's that much of a goalkeeping error either. But people got agendas. And then we just go back to the United Newcastle game. I think Amron did something really smart. He told Onana, you're not starting. We're going to play Altai. But the smart thing is when he said, don't come to the game. Because I don't want, when something happens, like Altai makes a save or doesn't make a save, the cameras to swing to you on the
those
bench.
Sky cameras.
Yeah, to get a reaction and, to make some press. So I think that's good coaching. That gives me hope. So we lost to Newcastle 4-1. We have trouble building out the back. A lot of the pundits are like, why doesn't United clear the ball out of danger? But when we do, they just bring it right back down on us. So that happened a lot. And somehow we get it back if we weren't taking it out the back of the net. It's just, so you have to build out the back because you have to go through the pains of it. And this season is a write-off anyway. We might as well practice some shit as long as we are better in the Europa League. And that's all that matters. So I was going to ask you a question. Can I remember this question?
Was it about the Newcastle game?
Maybe it's about Lyon. What do you think of our chances of beating Lyon midweek on this Thursday?
I think you got a decent chance. I mean, it's all to play for. It's all it's all in the balance still. So, I kind of feel like a midweeker at home that you'll find another gear. And I thought you should have beat them away, to be honest. So I think at home you should be able to take them. Like they're a good side though, so it's not like a guaranteed United win. Obviously, if you're going to get through, you need to play well. And if you have an off day, which United are more than capable of this season, then
we make mistakes.
Yeah, then they could catch you out for sure because they've got good players. Like we spoke about that. That shot that came in from Chakravarty. He's a really good player. I like the Georgian guy that they've got, the guy with the beard, Mamardashvili, I think maybe. I think he's a really good player, really skillful. I'm looking it up now because I want to know. Oh no, Mikotadze. Mamardashvili is the goalkeeper. Sorry, I get my Georgians mixed up. Mikotadze is the guy. Him and Cherky play up top. So yeah, they got them. They got Tolisso as well, who he came through at Lyon, then he left and went to Bayern for a few years. I think he might have been there when Pep was there. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But then he came back to Lyon, so he's a good player. They got
How old
Tagliafico
is
who played.
Tolisso?
Let me have a look. Tolisso is 30 years old now. Well, I remember him coming through as a teenager at Lyon, so that makes me feel old now. But yeah, they've got Tagliafico left back who played for Ajax for years under Ten Hag. He was part of the team that went on that big Champions League run to the semi-finals and stuff. So he's a good Argentinian international as well. He's at the World Cup with them. So yeah, he's a good player. I mean, they got Ashley Maitland-Niles, who's a Arsenal and Southampton reject. That's who you need to target. That's who you need to go after.
He was pretty decent defensively. Yeah. I feel we could beat them too, just because of how we played them at their home. And like you said, we kind of like it's hard to say I don't think those were goalkeeping mistakes and then say we could have beat them because then they earned those goals. But the way Lyon was hyped to me and playing them at home, how dangerous it's supposed to be, it didn't look that dangerous. And I've seen this pattern in the Europa League where the teams that we played, who did we play? Real Betis before this? Who did we beat?
Sociedad.
Real Sociedad. They didn't create the intensity and put us under pressure in either game, even in the game that they tied. So I feel like just as at ease in the second leg as I did when they came to us because of what we did and how we handled ourselves in the first leg at their home. I don't know. I think we have a good chance. Just no mistakes, guys. Please, we can't. This season's over Thursday, and let's drag the pain and the hope out just a little bit longer. Let's not hit rock bottom yet. Let's not rush to it.
It's a shame that Xerxes picked up that injury against Newcastle though, because he's starting to find his feet now, and actually, put in some good performances, and then
you just made me hit rock bottom again. I forgot. I blanked. This all goes back to the curse. As soon as somebody starts showing up, God takes him out. He did it to Ahmad. Xerxes starting to flirt and prove. And it's not just his touches, but he's getting more aggressive and winning balls and shouldering people and fighting for it. And then he goes on this long run and pulls his hamstring. Yes. And then now he's out for the rest of the season. And yeah, it's luck is not on us. What do you think of Amron's record as a United coach? That's been on because of this game, which nobody expected to win at Newcastle. Everybody just the agenda of the media or whoever is told to pick at this thing. This is what they threw to the hungry, emotional animals. So what do you think about his record?
I mean, the record's pretty terrible. I'm not going to lie. You can't, you look at the numbers and I think everyone's been sort of throwing that stat around of when he joined, you were 4 points off of 4th place.
Yes. True, I remember that.
But I think what we're going to see is you can't really judge it fully now. It's the fruits are going to come next season if they're going to come. After he's had a preseason, after he's had a summer transfer window, then it will decide whether this is growing pains or whether this is just pains.
Just more pain.
Yeah, because it might be growing pains. You might be having to suffer through this to get where you need to be next season, or it might just be more suffering and the guy gets fired before Christmas next year, over this year, next season. So it could go one of two ways. It'd be interesting to see what business gets done between now and the start of next season in terms of who's going to leave, who's going to stay, how that team looks. Because yeah, obviously he's got his ideas of how he wants it to look and how he wants the team to play. So yeah, it's going to be a big summer. But I kind of feel like because of the pains of this season, he's going to be under pressure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
From the start. Like he's not going to get much leeway after he's had a preseason, after he's had a summer window. So like if this form that you have in the league continues into the league in next season, then yeah, there's going to be some issues, I think, and it's going to be a real test of Ineos's patience and see how long they stick with him. So yeah, it's hard to tell at the moment, but based on the small sample size of his work in Portugal, he's capable of turning it around. He's capable of fixing a team. But the Premier League's a hard place to fix a team. Portugal,
especially Manchester United.
Yeah, like Portugal and Sporting Lisbon, when he fixed them, they had been bad for a while. Right. Like Porto and Benfica were the two sort of standout clubs, and he sort of put them back up there alongside them. But it didn't happen overnight. It happened quick, but it wasn't overnight. And the expectations weren't mad high like they are at United all the time. So yeah, I feel like in the Premier League you don't get that patience. It's hard to build quietly and then sort of explode. Like people are just, they're on it. The fans are on it, the media are on it. And it's not an environment that's conducive to developing something. It's
especially at United.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got a lot of work to do.
I'm just trying to look up something. The only thing I liked about the United game, right, was when we made 3 subs at one time, and they were quality subs in names, something that we haven't been able to do in a long time. So that gave me hope. I'm just trying to remember, and when I say hope, let's see, Højlund was one of those. What we put in Højlund. Damn, let me find those subs. Mount. And was it Luke Shaw? Just 3 names that have not been available to us, but it's like, yeah, damn, we're not that bad of a team on paper if you can make substitutions like that. Let me go to the lineups and see who we subbed in. So we subbed in Mount, subbed in Højlund, and we subbed in Dogru, who I rate. And we subbed in Luke Shaw and Mainu. That's 5 good subs, like on paper. Like those are 5 starters we subbed in. So we'll see what happens. And then we lost another starter to get 5 starters who aren't in starting shape back. So we'll see. What else about that game? Yeah, and he started Eriksen because he's trying to rest. He's trying to play that game where we have to focus more on the Europa League. And that's a slow midfield versus that them hound hunting, ball hogging Newcastle players. And I think Newcastle has it in for United, just for the years of abuse, but I think they're still not over losing that first Carabao Cup to us at Wembley, like a few years ago. So they're assholes to us. Like they really come for us when they play in us. Like they're like, no matter, first of all, they didn't have any midweek games. We did. And they're all rested. We came from France and we got to go up there. And then they're like, yeah, come on. Yeah, we got something for y'all. And I think they wanted to embarrass us, And there were a lot of people at that game too, like famous people. So this was an occasion.
Yeah, like I saw Shearer and Ginola. Nicky Butt was sandwiched in between them for some reason.
What the fuck they all doing there? It's just a game. So what was the secret internal email /memo to come enjoy this feast type attitude vibe that was going on up there? But yeah, I love Ginola. So we lost. So And I do think, like you said, that hopefully we could beat Lyon this week at home. We should be able to pull that off. And I feel like overall we have been improving. We took a step back in the Newcastle game, but if everybody just gets their confidence together, confidence is a huge thing. The mental part of the game is pretty much 80% of it. And we need to have that versus Lyon. And we could beat them. We don't need Lacazette coming on, playing us like we're Arsenal, the team that let him go. The edge that he came onto the field with was on some revenge shit. It's like, bro, we're not the team that got rid of you from the Premier League. Like they play in a different type of red. But he was at us like he had something to prove. So yeah, hopefully we can take out our wounds against Newcastle versus Lyon. Because I'm less scared than I was before we played them. Let's what do you think about Wolves versus Spurs? And I've been saying Andrew's a dead man walking. And the only reason why he still has a job is because of a faux pas that he made when he convinced everybody that he always wins a trophy in his second season. So everybody's hanging on for that. But I could tell from all the press conferences leading up to this game and from games before, he's a shot fighter. Like those players are better than that, but they're not. He can't motivate them to do what he needs them to do. That, like, they drew with Frankfurt at home, right? In the last round.
Yeah, 1-1-1. Yeah.
And now you got to go to Frankfurt and you couldn't beat them at home, bro. And then you lose to Wolves 4-2. Like, where's Wolves in this table? Let me go find them. Wolves almost got relegated this year.
Yeah, they're down there.
Yeah, so they're 16th. Tottenham's 15th. And United is and I get it. Wolves beat us too, so I can't talk that much shit. But this does nothing for the confidence or the lack of confidence of all the Spurs players. So what do you think of? You really think Spurs can pull this off at Frankfurt?
I mean, they could if their players show up, because they've got players who can win a game like that. And Frankfurt obviously weakened after Marmoush left.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll need to pick it up because they were terrible at the weekend. The only reason Andrew's doing a job right now is because we let them beat us last weekend.
And why did y'all do that?
I know, because I want the suffering to continue. I was quite happy with that result in the end, actually. So if it means they have to keep Andrew,
that's funny.
I'm enjoying the shit show. So I mean that result brought me a great deal of joy at the weekend. It was just hilarious, and some of the goals were hilarious as well. Like Vicario just slapping a shot off of Spence to go straight in, and Romero messing up at the back as well. Beautiful. I love it. That was fun to watch. I'm hoping they take that form into Germany when they play Frankfurt, and we'll see Frankfurt, because this is the last chance saloon for Ange. Like this is that second season trophy.
Yeah, he's fired by the end of the game if you don't win this, right?
Could go up in smoke. Yeah, they have to tell Ryan Mason to dust off the suit, dust off the turtleneck, get yourself interim manager ready.
Yeah, I hope he does. Ryan Mason is in manager gear shape. You know what I mean? Because Andrew's definitely he's just lost it. He can't take the pressure of the British media, and he flinches at anything and is triggered by anything he feels as a verbal attack. And he's very defensive. And it's like, you can't be that way and go into a locker room and convince a bunch of professionals that everything's going to be okay. It doesn't feel like it out of the locker room, so it doesn't feel like it would be inside, you know? So I believe in Frankfurt midweek on Thursday. And Frankfurt's won some shit recently, right? Like the Conference League or Europa League?
I'm not sure. They got to Europa League final a few years back
I
against
think that was against
Rangers.
and we know
Yeah.
Rangers didn't win, so then they won that shit. Frankfurt won that shit.
Let me have a look. See if they won anything since then. Eintracht Frankfurt. Where are the honours? Damn, this is slow. Where are they? Here we go. Yeah, they won on penalties
versus Rangers, right?
Yeah.
Europa League or Conference?
Europa. That was before the conference existed. I think that was the last season before the conference existed.
That's pretty big for recent. So you got a lot of that squad.
Yeah.
Like they've got more players who's been there than Spurs does in this moment. Probably left over. What year was that?
That was 21-22, I believe.
Is that this? Do they still have the same coach?
No, I think their coach then was what's his name? I think it was the Palace manager.
Oh,
Oliver Glasner. Yeah.
Oh shit! You know what? I kind of didn't pay attention where he came from.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
he was at Frankfurt. Let's have a look. Is that it? Yeah. Oliver Glasner was a manager.
Oh, so then that's what Palace. No, I think that's even a better signing for Palace than I thought initially. I was just saying it's a good signing based on his results from last year and this year. But oh shit! All right, he's got some pedigree. Let me see. Matches. And what do you think about Chelsea's tie with Ipswich? That's just bad. That's just horrendous. At home.
I mean, Ipswich. At least they turned it around rather than throwing it away. Like they went 2-0 down because they were sloppy, and then they had the mentality to put it back to 2-2.
How could you not have the mentality at home to not go back at Ipswich? It's like you'd never be able to play in that stadium again. It wouldn't exist. The fans would burn it down. You had to show something.
It's true. But yeah, I mean, they fought back. I guess that's something. But yeah, I mean, their fans. I saw a video of like the fans just going crazy when they were losing the ball, playing out from the back, and then the next kick, the keeper goes long, and then they lose that one. It kind of reminded me of the start of the season watching Southampton when we had Russell Martin as manager, and everyone was just losing their minds when we were trying to play out from the back. So yeah, it's a tough one because English fans are just hard to please in terms of playing out from the back because they'd rather keep a kicks long and concede the ball in the opposition half than concede it from playing out. So yeah, I think it's partly a cultural thing, but I mean, if it goes well, no one says a thing. But yeah, I mean, I guess the expectations just got raised when they spent so much money, Chelsea, and you'd be expecting a little bit more out of them at this point. You know, in terms of, I mean, even just their centre midfield alone costs more than most teams.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. So, I mean, where are they in the table right now? They're 6th. I mean, they're still in the race for Champions League. But are they consistent enough over the next 6 games to do it? I'm not sure. I mean, Newcastle and Man City look like the 2 teams
Newcastle surging, and they got no like extracurricular activities. This is just the league. Their mission is to win a spot. So yeah. Chelsea got like the Conference League. What's good if they win that and maybe they end up in Europa League?
And Man City, I mean, after they woke up against Palace, that Man City team started looking like the old Man City team.
Oh, word.
Once they clicked in and found their gears. So, and plus they got the added motivation now. De Bruyne trying to have a strong send off,
which is a fake strong game because he didn't do shit against us the week he announced it. So do it now. Do it now. We're done with y'all.
So it's not looking good for Chelsea, I don't think, in terms of trying to fight for a Champions League spot. And they could be right in there if they had been a little bit more consistent. But they're on 54 points, City on 55, Newcastle on 56, Forest on 57. Newcastle got one game in hand. They're going to play Palace midweek to catch up.
That's a tough one. That's a barn burner right there.
Yeah.
Newcastle versus Forest, like one's third, one's fourth.
Palace.
I mean Palace. Oh my bad. Let me slide down to 12.
Yeah.
Palace is, like we said, Palace has been playing pretty good football lately, so that's still tough.
Yeah, for sure. And they started great against Man City. They went 2-0 up at the Etihad. Eze got a goal, and Salah was playing well as well. He got an assist in there. So they got players that can hurt Newcastle. That'll be a good game to watch.
I remember Palace beating City in their prime at the Etihad a few times.
Oh yeah, they got
making them drop points. Yeah, they got a good record there, right? Yeah. So when they went 2 up against City there this weekend, they must be like, this shit is happening again. But I guess it is something for that Man City team, the way they are, to have come back and won that match. And you're talking about Chelsea, like you're talking about the teams above them. It's like you have to look at Villa can displace them. Villa's on 54 points, same amount as them. Villa, I know they have the PSG match, but you were talking about who Villa played against you guys and the subs that came in, like they have squad depth. So they have enough squad depth to play in Europe and to catch Chelsea and pass them in the Prem. So yeah, it's just it's funny how a few places and a few points will determine if Maresca has his job at the end of the season. Like last week was good because they ended the week in 4th, but now they're 6th. And who knows where they'll be next weekend. We didn't get to talk about Villa. Not Villa, but Arsenal. What do you think of their chances? They beat Real Madrid off the pitch. Like, pretty much dominated them.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was
the fact that it could have been more than 3 was crazy.
Yeah.
Courtois had to pull off some big saves.
Yeah.
Couple of misses in there.
And so did Jude, and so did who else had to make a foot save off the line? The Real Madrid, they had 3 goalkeepers that match. But what do you think of Arsenal's chances at the Bernabeu?
I mean, I'm going to watch it because I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by this because I think Arsenal are going to go there and try and, they've been famous this season for the dark arts. And this is, if there's ever a time they needed to pull those out, it's
they're going to go
game.
full Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, but I don't think you can do it too early in a game like this because, if you start doing that from minute 1, I think it could backfire. And all it takes is like a first half goal from Real Madrid and that stadium comes alive. And, you got players who like to show up in those moments, like Vinny Jr. and Mbappe and people and Bellingham. So, they're players who will want to, they'll be hurting after that first game. And they're going to come out all guns blazing. They're going to be so ready for this game, so up for this game, that they're going to try and start quick and try and get themselves back in the game. So obviously the longer Arsenal go without conceding, the better it will potentially go for them. But there isn't a. I don't really know any Arsenal fan who isn't nervous, which is crazy considering they're 3-0 up. But I get it.
I'd be nervous. Like you said, like what's the strategy? Do you defend for the first 20 minutes just to not give anything up? And then you go back to your press, which is as good as playing in a low block. That's how good their press is. It prevents Real Madrid from coming out onto you. And then you could press, but then Real Madrid might be just feeling it that evening that they could break the press. Like everybody shows up skill-wise and their ability, the fans. So then now you're in trouble. They just, play through Arsenal. This is a tough call for a coach. The good thing with Arsenal is I've seen them play a lot of low block football this season, which is different from other seasons. We've been accusing them of being Stoke early this season and clowning them. But this Stoke shit, they might have to be the Stoke in a sunny Stoke in Real Madrid, you know what I mean, in Spain at the Bernabeu. So it's tough, man, to stop those guys who have been in this position before, that stay calm and said the right things after they lost at the game. They know what they have to do. They don't have to be told by some owner from Birmingham. There's no speeches like with the cameras on the owner. This is a professional outfit. But you know what I think? And it's going to be hilarious. I think Real Madrid is going to go through. And straight up.
Let me tell you what the bookies are saying. Because I'm interested. I haven't looked at the odds actually. I'm interested to see where they're saying it's going to go. Right. So Real Madrid are favourites to win the game.
Oh yeah,
like just the game. But
I see.
Let me have a look to qualify. So to qualify, you can get good money on Real Madrid. Real Madrid are 11-2, which is long odds. That's to qualify. So that means if they take it to penalties and scrape through, you get the money. Whereas Arsenal are 9-1 on, which is like barely any value at all in that. So you know what? I might put a few pounds on Real Madrid to qualify.
Yeah, because you win more.
Yeah, just in case we get some crazy turnaround.
Yeah, go against the odds.
I feel like this is the true mentality test of Arsenal, of Arteta's Arsenal.
Yes.
It's like,
go ahead.
Are you tough enough to go into that hostile environment against world-class players and finish the job? Or do you fall to pieces and concede an early goal and then another one, then another one?
Get beat 5-3.
Yeah. I mean, stranger things have happened, but it's like, okay, which players do you want to be? Do you want to be the people that can see the job out? Because I think getting the job done at the Emirates was impressive, but it's also the game, because it's a first leg, it doesn't have as much riding on it. The pressure is big, but it's not as intense as a second leg where it's like, okay, tonight it's getting decided. And I think the fact that it's that and it's at the Bernabeu, this is such a huge mental test of Arsenal. It's like, are you going to crumble under that pressure, or are you going to stand tall and finish the job?
Right. So I got two things based off what you said. One was a true mentality test for Arsenal's players, or is it? So say they show great mentality, but they still lose. It's just an even more of a bigger example of Real Madrid's mentality, which they've displayed over seasons, pretty much like overcoming Arsenal's mentality. It's because it's Real Madrid. They had to burn about, and they got all these players who just know how to do this for some reason. There's some magic that's really in their favor. So, and then the other thing was, what did you say that triggered an idea in my head? I can't remember. It'll come back. But I just think it'll be hilarious. This is what it is. if after and tragically hilarious for Arsenal fans, right? To go from no hope before the first game to the high of winning, not just winning 3-0, but completely dismantling. And right after the game, going, you guys said we couldn't win this. Now we are going to win this. There's no way this team could stop us. And then the crash. If Real Madrid, the best case scenario for non-Arsenal fans, if you just want to have some fun, is for Real Madrid to win this tie. Not just win it, but to kick Arsenal out of this, because there's going to be nothing more entertainment than the game, than the defeat of Arsenal fans, you know? After the high, it's just, and then it just wastes the 3-0 and that performance. It's so disheartening. It's I want to see that. I'm into that, you know. I'm into other people's pain. What do you think of Villa's chances?
Slim to none. Slim to none. I mean, again, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, especially if they score first. But I think this PSG team is they're made of stern stuff. So I can see it being them seeing the job out. I think it could end up being a draw in this game or something. But I just think, yeah, they've got enough to get it done. But like I say, Villa score an early goal, just game on. But I mean, the atmosphere has been incredible at Villa Park in the Champions League games, like the Bayern game. I remember that one, and
yes, I remember that atmosphere more than the game.
Yeah,
that atmosphere was the game.
And so, yeah, just thinking about it, maybe slim to none was harsh, me saying that, because if they get a goal, it's wide open. And yeah, that atmosphere and the fact that Villa have got players who can hurt teams and win games is a thing. Like, that's all you need in a game like this, is you need players who can show up. And with Watkins and Rashford and Rodgers and Asensio and people like that, they got game changers. So
I was just thinking, I was asking Lloyd, he's so funny. After the game, I said, "You all right?" He said, "Yeah, we're good. We're in a great position. We got a goal." And then I said, and he said, "They're gonna win." I was, kind of. He did kind of pull back a little bit, but I was like, yesterday, I was like, "So, are you better than Liverpool?" And he said, "Yes." So that means, because if he said no, then I could go in on him and say, if you don't think you're better than Liverpool, Liverpool lost to PSG at home. At Anfield, how are you gonna do it? You know what I mean? But because this PSG team, bro, you just look at them, see it the way they play, and then you check also to see if, all right, it was an anomaly against Liverpool, but then they brought it to Villa again. Another thing Lloyd is complaining about is how the French league helps teams like PSG. Like, PSG didn't play a match before the first game that weekend, and I don't think they played one this weekend before their match against Villa, so they're rested. And he's like, why doesn't the Premier League do that for their teams in European competition? And I said, Lloyd, the Premier League did not help Man United win a treble. They didn't help Chelsea win their 2 cups, and they didn't help Liverpool. So if you're gonna win another European title, you're just gonna have to do it without the league's help, bro. No matter what the French FA does for the French teams. But yeah, man, I don't know how Luis Enrique is gonna enter this match. because they have the goal lead. I don't know if they're going to defend or just defend by attacking. And these guys are ball possessors. You know, they want the ball. I don't think Luis Enrique is going to come here and back down. And they dealt with the Anfield atmosphere. So as great as the Champions League atmosphere at Villa is, and I know it's going to be tremendous, it might not bother this team. You know? So we'll see.
Both going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, this midweek is a lot of fun, good football. What's the midweek game? Just Crystal Palace, Newcastle?
Yeah, it's just a catch-up game, and no one's going to be watching that.
Well,
actually, no, I'll tell you, I'll watch the first half hour. It kicks off at 7:30, and
okay.
hit it over here, and Arsenal Real Madrid kicks off at 8. So
I'm just trying to look at the weekend. What's going on? Oh shit, we got Wolves again. Fuck. Shit. Especially after Europa League. If we win the Europa League game, the fans will be pissed. But
sorry,
good.
Cold. Yeah,
Aston
we're away
Villa,
to West Ham.
Newcastle. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I see. Aston Villa, Newcastle. Though that means that Newcastle again, they're just going chilling in the cut, lay waiting, like PSG pounded Villa. You know,
catch them when they're vulnerable.
You know, so Aston Villa's been good against Newcastle last few seasons, but this might be the time for Newcastle to get their revenge. They're both playing for Champions League spots. So that's probably the best game. Fulham-Chelsea at Fulham.
Yeah, there'll be some that are good to watch. Like I think Palace-Bournemouth will be good to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not much riding on it. Bournemouth trying to get Europa League spots, but yeah, Everton City be a good game as well.
Think so?
At Goodison. Yeah.
Oh, why?
Because I think, City are getting back towards what they're capable of, and Everton are just a horrible team to play at home. They're full of running, full of defending. Like they'll try and be awkward opponents. So I think that could be a good one as well.
Yeah, Everton gives people a fight, and they're getting goals somehow now, like the one Corny scored at the end of this last game versus Forest.
Yeah, big win away to Forest. Not many people are going there and winning this season.
Yeah, tell me about it. We didn't. Any fantasy league news? Guess we can go into that.
Main news, I'm still ahead of Martin. That is the main bit of news that anyone needs to know. He's only got two players left to play. He's got Jacob Murphy for Newcastle and Dean Henderson for Palace in that midweek game.
Isn't that crazy that people are using Jacob Murphy in their fantasy league teams?
I got him in my team as well. But he got me points for the assist.
Would you have thought that 2 years ago?
No, not at all. Yeah. But I've also got Mateta. I've got Pope for Newcastle. I've got Murphy. I've got Mateta, and I've triple captained Isak this week, which you can only do once a season. So I was hoping he would score against United, but he did. He got an assist, so he got me something. But I need some goals from him against Palace so I can really extend that lead over Martin. So that's what I need out of that. So Martin's got 2 players playing in this game. I've got 4, including my triple captain. So hopefully I'll pull away. At the top of the league, though, it's the same as it ever was. Ahmad Zekri still number 1. Brian Avila still number 2. Joseph Duda still number 3. So yeah, that's where we are with the fantasy.
All right, Joseph and guys at the top. Who would have thought that you know, Newcastle would have beat Man United 4-1 and Isak didn't even get a goal. I know he got an assist, but yeah, you'd expect two of those to be his.
Yeah, I made some bad decisions this week. Not bad decisions, but like players who just didn't show up. Like Asensio killed me with those 2 penalty misses.
He was right there though. He's right there for you, but he just didn't deliver.
Yeah. Like the 3 defenders I selected all conceded. So Konate, Vardiol, and Murillo all conceded. And then I've got Hudson for Bournemouth on my bench with 7 points.
You can't trust
clean sheet tonight.
Man City's defense right now. So Vardiol, he's a good player. If he's in that defense, he's gonna get.
He scores now and again as well.
But, yeah. But when he was like further up the pitch, or like when they used to play him as a left back, he would like yeah. But if they put him like, was he central? Was he he's central midfielder. But you don't know where they're gonna play him before you pick your team.
Yeah, he was centre back because I think they got some injuries there. So, but I had some players who did deliver, like Murphy and Salah and Isak all got me assists, and I had Marmoush as well, so he got me a goal in the comeback against Palace. So yeah, I got some points.
I got a question for you. Did Salah pass Thierry Henry's goal scoring record in the Premier League?
I'm not sure. Let me have a look.
I was listening to some stuff on the way during the drive, and I think he has. And Martin Keown got offended. No, it wasn't Martin Keown. There's a podcast where like 5 supporters. It's a DR Sports podcast, and then
he's 9 goals past Henry now.
So
he's level with Aguero.
Oh shit! Now. So is he better than Henry?
Nah. I wouldn't say so.
What makes him not? Just out of curiosity,
I just think the type of goals Henry scored, and Henry led that team to. Did he lead them to more titles?
2,
I think he won
3?
more. I think he won more league titles there. And he's a World Cup winner.
Let's see how many. Yeah, he's a World Cup winner. That would be, and he won it in Barcelona. But
I mean, Salah is, he can't help being Egyptian. They're not going to win a World Cup while he's there. So it's a tough one because I think, sometimes we do treat players that played in the previous years with a bit more sort of nostalgia But I mean, Henry for me was just, when he was, the sort of goals he would score were just incredible, and the way he would take people on. I mean, Salah is good as well at all those things. Mm-hmm. So it's a tough one. I don't know how many appearances they've done those in as well.
Any way to find out? I feel like Salah did it in less because
258 appearances, 175.
For who?
For Henry. So 258. I'm pretty sure Salah has done it in less.
I think, check this.
295 for Salah. So the goals per game's similar-ish.
What about assists?
Henry got 74 and Salah's on 87. But again, he's played more games. So there ain't much in it.
It's pretty even.
There ain't much in it. But I kind of feel like Henry powered his team to more success.
That was a really strong. Whose team do you think was better back then? That Arsenal team or the Liverpool now? And not just that, but which league was tougher? Was Arsenal in a tougher league back then, or is Liverpool in a tougher league now?
It's hard to say because that Arsenal team were going up against Jose's Chelsea and Ferguson's United. So to do it against those sort of teams is pretty big. But I mean, Henry only won 2 Premier Leagues, and Salah is on 1, but he's going to be on 2 soon. Right. So he's going to draw level with him.
And Salah's got a Champions League.
Yeah.
And multiple Champions League finals.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like I say, these things are subjective. You can use whatever you want to frame your argument. For me, I enjoyed watching Henry more. Is one of the big things. just how smooth the way he sort of just would glide across the pitch, and thinking about some of those goals, like the one he scored against Liverpool, where he just beat so many people. Just some of the things he did technically as well. But I mean, Salah's unreal though, especially when I've seen him live twice this season against Southampton, and you really appreciate when you see it up close, like his first touch and the way he goes past people as well. He's incredible. And yeah, yes, I'm just glad I've had a chance to see some of these players live.
It's pretty dope. Yeah, that's pretty dope. Yeah, it's a tough call. I don't want to make a call. I just want to put you in a position to get trolled and make it. It's tough, man.
I'm sure I'll get people in the comments.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like the only thing worth it is just making the outrageous call and saying, yeah, Salah's better. But even stats wise, I recognized I was a United fan, so I didn't really get a chance to appreciate the aura of Henry. Like when I see him being a pundit and the way people talk to him, like his pundit mates, or when a player comes on the screen that they're interviewing, and you could see like just what he did for those players when they were kids, and the honor it is for them to talk to him now. You could be like, oh, he did something that will never be removed, and not for now. Like it was more than just, he's just more than just Arsenal's like 9. Is this something, some players have that, like Drogba statistically, like he's not as good as his aura. He's great, but his aura there's just something about Drogba. I mean, the motherfucker has stopped wars, so it's a tough call. All right. So, yeah, I think we did it for the day, You got anything you want to plug?
No, just follow me on Instagram, Lee Hudson Comedy. Post my little match vlogs on there when I go to a game. I don't know if I'll make any this week, but I might make one. I'm going to 2 games this weekend.
Oh yeah, why would you make them?
I don't know. Sometimes it's a lot of effort. I think I'll do at least one. Yeah. But I'm going to 2 non-league games, and the last video I put out was of a non-league game, so I don't just want to like spam the feed of all the non-league games I go to. Because Saints are away at West Ham, and I couldn't get a ticket to that because most of our London away games sell out quite quickly. But we got a long weekend here for Easter, so we get Friday and Monday off work. So Friday, I'm going to watch a game in the National League South between Eastbourne Borough and Worthing, which is a local derby, and also they're both fighting for a title as well. There's 3 games left in that league, and Worthing are second with 83, and Eastbourne are third with 81, and the team at top have got 83 as well. So that one will be spicy. And then on Easter Monday, I'm going to a National League game between Woking and Aldershot, who are, again, local rivals. They hate each other. Aldershot just beat Woking recently in a semi-final to get to Wembley, and there was a lot of controversy. There was a sending off that shouldn't have been sending off, and a last-minute winner. So that one's going to be spicy. That game got moved to 12:30 lunchtime kickoff because the police didn't want anyone to have extra time to drink before the game.
Hilarious. What makes them think people won't drink in the morning?
I mean, it's British people on a 4-day weekend, so yeah, people will still find a way. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to that one as well. So they're 2 games that I'm going to over the weekend. I'm shunning the Premier League for this weekend. I'm going to watch these games. Cheaper entry, cheaper food, more action.
That sounds great. Yeah, I definitely want to look forward to seeing those blogs. Check me out on Instagram at Ian Edwards Comic, on YouTube at Ian Edwards Comic, and this weekend I'll be at the Greensboro Comedy Zone on Friday and Saturday. 2 shows per night, I think. So pull up, come through. And we thank you all for watching and thank you all for listening. And yeah, it's been a tough week, but hopefully midweek, either way, will pick shit up for us. We love you. Be good to each other. One.